Seems kind of empty, his house. Is that a massive bong? Or was that just a coffee machine? His house seems very empty. Hot dog, fish and chips. But I'm still impressed. For the fish and chips, at the end of the day, is still greasy comfort food. You let it cool off. What food isn't? It's got a nice rich fragrance to grind at home. Stocked up not too long ago to come back and relax. He sees his coffee as a small island of luxury. A respectable man, yeah. It's tiny, you know, if he wouldn't hurt to be a little less blunt. Through and through, you might be a top official to change our whole lifestyle, some kind of attachment, cozy and relaxing.
Ooh, there's a photo.
Oh, that.
Family portrait, family photo. Seems so.
Aww, look at cute little Machias there.
He looks like he had such a sweet disposition.
Yeah, before he grew up to be a stubborn old nag.
Stop nitpicking people's old family photos! Honestly.
The governor looks the same as ever, though. Is that woman next to him your older sister or something?
Close enough. She was a cousin on my father's side of the family. Since she
A
lived so
cousin?
close, she often came to visit.
So
Our
no
family
mother?
was just my father and I, so having her around was a big help.
The way you speak about her seems to imply you no longer see her. Did she get married and move away?
She died, didn't she? No, don't say it.
She died
Oh boy.
around 6 years ago.
Oh,
It's kind of awkward.
I see. And that has something to do with why you hate the nobility, right?
So...
What happened?
I never really planned on telling anyone about this. But considering all we've been through, I suppose it's time I told you a little more about me. It's a long story, but would you hear me out?
Sure, why not?
Of course.
absolutely.
Glad to.
Thanks. Sis was 9 years my senior. Beautiful, kind. To me, she was in every sense the ideal woman.
Here we
Now,
go,
as I
sad
said
box
earlier,
backstory.
we're a family of commoners, through and through. But my father proved to be a very capable government official. And eventually, he was promoted to an important government position, where he started to make a name for himself. Honesty and integrity are a core part of his work ethic. So, of course, he made his fair share of enemies. But after seeing success in a number of major projects, he gained a reputation both inside and outside the government. My mother died when I was still young, but Sis happened to live around here and ended up helping us in more ways than I can count. Since she was his niece, my father always made a fuss over her. And even though she didn't live in the same house, she was like a real sister to me, a real daughter to my father. I was always so proud of her. As a child, she was practically my idol. And as you'd expect, she had countless admirers among the men of the city. But for all her popularity, she was always level-headed and sensible. So I never felt I had anything to worry about. Until he appeared. He was one of my father's subordinates at City Hall, though unlike him, he was a noble by birth. A man of high rank, too. The heir of a count. However, he had none of the arrogance or haughtiness one usually associates with the nobility. When I met him myself, he came across as an honest and loyal man. He met Sis when Dad introduced him to her one day, and eventually the two of them fell in love and began a relationship, despite the difference in their social status. As a child, I was frustrated beyond words, but even I had to admit that the two of them made a good couple. And Sis seemed so happy when she was with him that I had no choice but to let it go and accept their relationship. Time went on and they became engaged, with Dad acting as the go-between. And that's when everything started to fall apart. His family couldn't have been more blatant in their attempts to undermine the relationship. Apparently, one of the 4 great houses, House Cayenne, proposed an arranged marriage on short notice. And the Count's family were up in arms at the thought he might choose to take a mere commoner as his wife. Since my father held an important post, they were limited in how shamelessly they could try to sabotage the marriage. They began to harass and threaten her in secret every way they could think of. They made her life a living hell. Maybe she didn't want to cause trouble for the man she loved, or perhaps she did it out of consideration for my father. But all that time she chose to endure it alone. She never discussed it or asked for help. And finally, it became so crushing that she took her own life. It was only afterward that my father and I learned what had really happened. It seems that at the very last, he had chosen to betray her love for him. But I told her, he said. I told her I'd treasure her as my mistress instead if she'd just accept that we couldn't be married. I just don't understand it. Why would she take her own life? After that, my father seemed to redouble his efforts. It was like watching a machine kick into high gear. With the help of his ally, Chancellor Osborne, he was able to wrest control of City Hall from the noble faction. Then, 4 years ago, he was appointed to his current position as governor of Heimdall. And that's how the Regnitz family came to be where it is.
I don't even know what to say.
So that's why you started hating nobles?
Yeah. I was so furious at Sis's death. My hatred needed to be directed at someone. Anyone. First I blamed her fiancé, then his family, and the family of the Duke who tried to intervene. In the end, I just hated the nobility as a whole. The people, their culture, the entire idea of social classes. I desperately wanted the strength to win against them. To show how right I was. How wrong they were. But deep down, I knew the truth about my hate. I knew I was taking out my anger on people who didn't deserve it. People who had done nothing wrong.
You did?
They may be from different social classes, but people are still individuals. Sis's fiancé was faithful to her. He just wasn't strong enough to shield her from all that ugliness, despite his love. And the Count and his family were only acting in their best interests, which is to be expected, really. Ultimately, I've had to acknowledge that not all commoners are good people, and not all nobles are unworthy of respect. Eustace might not have done much to change my opinion. But getting to know you two showed me that there are nobles who live up to that name.
Machias.
I have no idea how my father feels about all of this, but this is how I've come to feel.
I see. You have my thanks.
I'm glad you felt you could talk to us about it.
Still, I don't think it hurt to be a bit more honest with yourself. If you're willing to admit all of that, maybe you can find it in you to be friends with Eustace, too.
Are you kidding me? I might accept that not all nobles are bad, but that arrogant, self-centered fool can go choke on a palm. He's mocking me for spending so much time studying, or telling me I need to get out more.
I don't think he goes quite that far. Besides, I don't think he does it on purpose. He doesn't mean any harm.
That's the most irritating part! He does it without thinking!
Well, that was a good coffee break, wouldn't you say?
Jeez, man, that story went pretty dark. Kind of sad as well, jeez. Well, at least we know all about Marcius's past now, like why he came to hate nobles and such. Always good to have a bit of character development. Lunchtime is over. Started way before now. those small yearly traditions. Major event. Put more effort into celebrating the festival. Animism. I don't know how to say it. Animism. Or just say animism. Animism does seem to have mostly vanished here. Not as much as in Roa or Crossbell though. Well, I suppose it's hard to think of it as a seasonal festival in the capital when it's celebrated a month late to begin with. See an opportunity to catch a glimpse of the imperial family. Makes sense. A phone call. That phone is huge. Jesus. Why is the governor calling me? So I figured it'd be best to call you. It's now a good time. Just left your home. Marcus invited us over for coffee. It was a top-notch brew, alright. With all that going on, it was nice to just sit down and enjoy a good cup of coffee. Anyway, now getting to the point, I'm calling because we have a bit of a problem. An extra task. A burglary? Huh. Left a message addressed to you. Okay. We'll head over to the Garnia district at once. Weird. A burglar addressed to us? We'll wait until you hear this. Weird, no kidding. All seems kind of familiar. Deja vu. It's already past noon. Let's head over to the Garnia district and find out what happened. Paid a short visit to Heimelder Port. After doing so, they boarded a tram to Garnia district. Oh, nice. U material 5. The extra task.